everybody, welcome to Wednesday. Well, we survived the first US presidential debate. Yes, this Canadian is like, right now where I'm recording this, but we're not going to talk about that. Hooray for not talking about that, but everybody else is going to be talking about this. So if you like this sort of content, help support this channel, become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK. But also, Boss Fight was out yesterday. More on that in Feedback Friday. That's not what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about the story that broke yesterday while I was doing Twitch-ish, that depending on which website you read, the facts differ. I am inclined to believe the original source, which is a Jason Schreier article that appeared in Bloomberg. You'll see right here that an account from a CD Projekt Red employee recently, as well as an email to staff earlier this week, indicates that the company hasn't lived up to its word regarding crunch. The employee, who had asked not to be named, discussing private information, said some staff had already been putting in nights and weekends for over a year. Other websites are saying that 6-day work weeks will be mandatory now, but don't include that detail. But basically, the gist of this is that a while back, CD Projekt, and I covered this at a time, and I said they're not actually saying they're not going to crunch. They're saying they're going to try to avoid crunch, which was not a promise, but it was sort of ascribing to the ideal that crunch is bad. They're not doing that, obviously. There is an email that went out to employees mandating 6-day work weeks between now and I guess when the game comes out, which is over a month, 6-7 weeks, which is a lot, especially for people who've already been crunching for a year. Now, I give the studio head, Adam Badowski, credit for just taking it, not making excuses. I want to read his statement, though, because like sometimes in these things, what they don't say is as important as what they do say. Hear me out here, okay? Starting today, the entire development studio is in overdrive, Badowski wrote, elaborating that this meant your typical amount of work and 1 day of the weekend. The extra work would be paid as required by Polish labor laws. Many other video game studios don't pay for overtime. That's friggin' criminal. Okay, like you shouldn't be allowed to not pay for overtime. So, okay, there's at least that. They're getting paid, okay? I take it upon myself to receive the full backlash for the decision. I know this is in direct opposition to what we've said about crunch. It's also in direct opposition to what I personally grew to believe a while back, that crunch should never be the answer. But we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. And it's that line I find very curious. But we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. And this is what I read into this. Now, caveat, very clear. I am not agreeing. I am not condoning with what CD Projekt has done. I know everybody loves their super ambitious games. I thought The Witcher 3 was brilliant. But I think everybody agrees it's not worth a year of people's lives not seeing their families very much. That family time is important, okay? This is crap. They need to hire some producers. They need to make sure their workflow is better managed. And they need to stop biting off more than they can chew. That being said, what I am reading from that line, I repeat, we've extended all other possible means of navigating the situation. There are 3 things, essentially, that a developer can do faced in this situation. They can crunch, which is the choice they've made. They can push the game again, or they can just ship a broken, buggy mess game. We'll call that the Bethesda option. This is a Kobayashi Maru. It's easy to go, well, it's their own fault, too bad. But there's two reasons. Obviously, people would go, well, just push the game. There's two reasons that this is likely not happening. One is they're out of money. The various financiers will not give them any more money to do any more burn, any more development time. And that's believable. Like, people will go, well, that's not fair, but okay. This game was initially supposed to be out April 16th. Nobody believed the game was going to be out April 16th. CD Projekt's one of these studios that does tend to push games. It got pushed to September 17th. It then got pushed to November 19th. And it was interesting because we had a conversation on Twitch a few days ago that there were rumblings, so last week, that there were rumblings and were they going to push it again? And we were all basically saying they can't push it again. It's too late. They'd have to have announced earlier than this that they were going to push again. Now, also, it's holiday. The various console companies are probably going, come on. Somebody is basically saying to CDPR, you are out of time. Stop screwing around. What have you been doing? Which, in business, is shitty for the employees, but fair in terms of people going, there's a certain critical mass where we are not going to be able to make enough back. There's diminishing returns. It's a conversation Sony should have had with Naughty Dog more than once. The way that company burned money was obscene and, still high staff turnover. Saying I take full responsibility doesn't change the fact that they're doing this thing they know is wrong. There are probably reasons they know it's wrong. And I think we're all sort of in agreement that shipping a buggy mess is probably not an option, especially since, I've said on this channel, I've said on Twitch, Cyberpunk is either going to be game of the year or a massive disappointment. There's going to be no in between. This is very important for CDPR as a studio to show they can do something that's not The Witcher. They have to release a good product. But now they're releasing this product under the specter of you're crunching your staff badly to do it. And that puts gamers in a really crappy place because they're like, what do we do? And I admit I'm kind of in a place where it's like, what do I do? Because I was going to stream this game on Twitch. There are a lot of games coming out at around that time. Watch Dogs Legion is one. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is another. Ubisoft's done its own bad things recently. It's like we're like lesser of evils right now for holiday, which is a bummer. And this is like I said, where we're gamers, people who love games, but also really, really love the people who make the games and don't want to be complicit in the abuse of that staff, either by sexual harassment in the workplace, crunch, anything like that. What do we do? Because, if the game fails, all that crunch was for nothing. And a lot of people are probably going to be out of work. If you buy the game anyway, the belief is you reward CD Projekt Red for doing this. It's a no-win situation. There's a reason there are so many little indie or smaller studios popping up in Poland right now. Because people burn out on CDPR and go find something else to do. They have really, really run out people's patience on this. The reason they made the "we're going to try not to crunch" promise before that was because people were pissed. People are pissed. I'm interested with you guys. At this point, I am prepared not to buy the game, not to stream the game at launch. I may buy it later, but to me, not giving them that gargantuan launch. I haven't pre-ordered for precisely this reason. I remember when they asked me about it when I went to pick up Tsushima, I said, any chance they're going to push it again? And they're like, they might. So I didn't pre-order. You know, that may be the solution. Not give them that gargantuan launch date. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of doing. So they don't set a ton of records. The truth is they might do it anyway, because only gaming enthusiasts kind of follow these stories. The average person who just wants to play a cool game. And of course this happens like the day I praise them in a boss fight episode. Like, why? But, you know, most people are not going to hear about this. Most people are going to buy the game because it looks cool and Keanu Reeves is in it and so on and so forth. Gaming aficionados, gamers, can make an indie title through word of mouth. They can make a smaller title. They can let their friends know when a AAA game is not good. We can't do very much about these labor practices other than say we disapprove, but we don't want the people who worked hard on this game and are forced to come in and work 6 days a week. We don't want them to lose their jobs. There's a reason they're not quitting. Like, if they could afford to be without the job, they'd quit under these circumstances, right? And it's that powerless feeling that makes everybody in gaming in these situations feel really, the only word for it is gross and like complicit. I guess complicit is a better term. People like, I don't want to be complicit, but I don't know what to do. And this is why I'm offering, one of the things is wait to buy it. Wait till next quarter. It will still total into the total sales. But it won't have that gargantuan, like, headline grabbing. Last of Us 2 sold $4 million units in the first week, and then we're not, reporting on sales data anymore because oops. I do believe for people, if you are leaning towards buying the game anyway, don't feel bad, because like I said, this is probably going to be a gargantuan monster bestseller no matter what we gamers do. We're a minority of the people who play games, people who self-identify as gamers, people who care about this stuff. So you're not doing something ethically wrong by buying the game at launch. If you feel like you need to do something, you can't just let this go on unremarked. Again, I recommend just waiting. And that's what I want to know from you guys. Would you be more comfortable with me waiting? Or do you just want me to play the game anyway? I am curious as to what you think about this. Like I said, I can show off bits of another game in the intervening time. It will take a hit to my channel, because obviously when it's not brand new shiny, there'll be less interest in it later. Sometimes you gotta do things that are more important than traffic, but I'm not gonna do it if you guys don't want me to. Like, you guys are the opinions that matter the most to me. And this is a Kobayashi Maru. But yeah, the only way this is going to stop is if people like me are willing to give up a little bit of our bottom line to stand in solidarity with the people that are being abused by these practices. Like, let's call it what it is. Let's not call it crunch anymore. Let's call it what it is. Workplace abuse. It's making people miserable in jobs. Crunch sounds too much like going to the gym. You are abusing your staff. Yes, you're paying them, but they don't have a choice to be overworked. You are overworking your staff. There's a reason 5-day work weeks are our thing. People need rest. People need to see their families. I'm saying this who is somebody who has come off 3 months of working 7 days a friggin' week. Yom Kippur was the first day I kind of sort of took off in quite a while. So let me tell you, it messes with you. But we do have to say, no, we are going to do something conscious to say we disapprove of this without costing people their jobs, which, let's face it, that hurts them more than if they're crunched, right? I think if you ask any game dev involved, they would rather keep their jobs, even if it means working 6 days a week, you know? But I think we all agree we kind of have to do something. So I'm open to other suggestions. I'm open to you guys going, don't worry about it. Like, but I think we really need to make, this sounds so cheesy, we need to make our voices heard, and we need to stand up and support the staff. And I give credit to Jason Schreier for this becoming sort of his beat. Like, he's on the workplace abuse beat now. And I think this is stuff worth reporting on. This is actually news. This isn't hype. This isn't shitty opinion. This isn't a hot take. This is actual reporting. This is actual journalism. This is actually stuff that matters. This is the reporting that gamers want from the games press. And I think it's very notable that this is coming from Bloomberg and not Kotaku or Polygon. Bloomberg is actually willing to fund actual journalism about games. Bravo, Bloomberg. Okay? Let's tip the hat to somebody who's doing it well, as well as just kind of going, no bad. I will say again, CD Projekt Red is not the only company that crunches. Should we give them a bit of credit for trying, for being idealistic, and then having to admit we couldn't do it this time? I think at least there's that. I think that they tried and they failed, but at least they tried. But this has just got to stop. Like, nobody can have fun knowing bad things went on, you know, at the making of a game. That's not fun, right? Like, plenty of game companies manage to put out perfectly good games without abusing their staff. So I think it's just one of these things where everybody has to sort of take a moment and go, this isn't cool. And industry, please stop doing this. Please hire producers who can manage workflow. Please stop farting around in your early stages of development. Please manage scope creep. We don't need these gigantic, 100-hour games. Tsushima's what? About 40 hours, I think? And people felt like they got value from it. It was a complete experience. I don't think it was even that, actually. It was not short. It was a decent amount of game. Just it's not these sprawling epics like Skyrim. So let me know. Guys, let me know what you want to do about this. What does your conscience tell you? I'll take this up on Feedback Friday. So Feedback Friday will be boss fight feedback, and then Feedback Friday feedback. Patrons, please watch the Patreon for information on the boss fight Zoom hangout. For people who don't know what this is, we basically show up on Zoom. People ask questions about boss fight, and I tell stories for about 15, 20 minutes. And then we basically all do show and tell with our toys and talk about stuff and just nerd out for a while. And we do it on Friday nights. We start at around, 5, 6 o'clock. And we go until later and we start that early. So we basically go long enough that like the European people can pop in at the beginning and the West Coast people here can pop in at the end when they get home from work at around like 9 o'clock my time. And we hang out. So if you want to be a part of this is a patrons only thing. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Thanks everybody for watching.